Okay, let's get going. Nobody asked, but real quick, because I've been going to a lot of homes recently and I've noticed a few things that you can actually do yourself. You don't need an interior designer. Um, we're going to focus on the bedroom and the living room, dining room, because kitchen and bath is a little more complex where you need to do construction. You need a contractor, an interior designer. I'm here. Um, but really, really simple little hacks, and I've been talking about this on my Instagram and my posts here and there. So I'm just gonna concentrate everything so you have everything in one video. It makes your place go from I just moved in, it's my first apartment alone, to I'm actually established here. It looks like an adult place and it looks good, and I'm proud to have people at home. So in the bedroom, first of all, I've noticed focus on the headboard. A lot of people, no matter how old they are, don't have a headboard. If you have a bed that doesn't have a headboard, it just looks like you're living in a dorm. And there's really no functional, technical reason to not have a headboard. A headboard just makes the place look finished, more comfortable. Another thing I noticed, some people do have headboards, but they're metal headboards. Unless you're using that for some functional purpose, that's your life. Metal headboards, for me, look like prison bars, and they don't look comfortable. It's you're thinking about banging your head there in the morning when you wake up. It doesn't feel good. In that case, it's better not to have a headboard rather than having a headboard in metal. Um, the placement of the bed, I've talked about this a lot. You want to be placing your beds in an angle where you can see the door of your bedroom. So that's going to be either across from the door or in diagonal. I'm not going to go into details, but it's basically for feng shui reasons, because in your subconscious mind, you want to feel safe and you want to be able to see who is coming in your bedroom, whether you live alone or not, and whether the person is invited or not in your bedroom. Um, Beds. Again, I see beautiful apartments and I step into them and I see super, super low beds. Unless that's intentional and you want to go with some kind of Zen, Japanese futon, whatever you say, however you say it in English, futon in French, futon style bed that's intentionally low because there's a lot of reasons. You want to be close to the ground. It's more humble. Monks sleep very close to the ground. Unless you're a monk, there's no reason you have a low bed. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Go for a high bed where it looks more inviting, more comfortable. The longer, the larger the bed, the higher the bed, the better it is. You don't want to be feeling yet like you have some kind of prison or dorm bed that's all thin and low. You get the idea. Another thing, people procrastinate on buying nightstands. They buy the beds and then they're like, I'll buy the nightstands later. You need a nightstand the minute you're in a room. You need to put your phone there. A lot of people use their phone to wake up in the morning. Some people drink water. If you have someone sleeping with you at your place overnight, they need a place to put their belongings. Um, Otherwise, you're just going to be putting it on the ground. You're going to step on it in the morning. So a nightstand at least on one side. Of course, the best is on both sides to create symmetry, even if you sleep alone, but at least on one side so you can put some things. Um, People who have glasses too. I see people put glasses on the floor. What happens first thing when you get up in the morning? You step on your glasses. That costs a lot. So you're trying to save on the nightstand, but then you're going to break some things. Spill some glasses of water on your phone that's on the ground. No good. Living room, dining room. Let's move to these areas. Wow, so many people connected. What's happening? Living room and dining room. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but really, really, really simple tweaks. Um, Flowers and plants are not an option. I do not want to hear, I'm not a plant person. I have a plant, it dies. No, that doesn't work. There's plants that grow in the desert. You water them once a week. I don't think that's too much commitment. Stop making excuses. You need plants in your place. It doesn't have to be like a friggin' tree like my place. because I'm obsessed with plants. Flowers, if you can, I don't buy them for myself. I have some once in a while, but I know people, men and women, who buy themselves flowers every week. That's the best you can do energy wise for yourself, for the space, for the vibe. Do that or keep doing it if you're doing it. Window treatments. So, specifically in the two cities I live in, New York and Paris, a lot of people think, oh no, we have nice views, or it's not modern if you have window treatments. Window treatments are not an option. Um, at least not in the living room and the dining room. There are, of course, some exceptions if you have floor to ceiling windows, but even then, I think it's always nice to have like a simple ripple fold. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. It's like a modern drape. If you do put window treatments, so window treatments, there's a lot of different options. I'm not going to go into details, but let's focus on curtains or drapes or shears, which is just the piece of cloth that you pull across the window. I'm really trying to make this as simple as possible, not to use technical vocabulary, but you all know what I'm talking about. If you do put window treatments, the color you choose is up to you, beige, white, or if you want to add color to a space. But in any case, the curtain has to drop an inch on the ground, not floating above the ground for God knows what reason because you want to vacuum, or in New York I see a lot half curtains that stop right above the window sill because there's a heating system or an AC system. Just don't put curtains if you're going to put it in the middle of the window. It has to break on the floor half an inch. I hope that was clear. Walls, I always talk about your walls. The walls should not be bare. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but you have to put something on the walls. You can't have all your apartment with bare walls. So the options for the walls, there's many, many, many. Paints. You can do it yourself. I did the paint on my place myself. You have to know how to do it a bit, but it's not that complicated. It's not rocket science. Um, a library. You have some books, buy some shelves, buy a library, put some books in there. It's beautiful decor and it's beautiful energy. The library only in the living room or the dining room, not in the room. You don't want the energy of all that, those books, all those thoughts floating through your room. Art, of course, on the walls. I always talk about that. Art is not for the rich and fancy. Art is not for the people who know someone who knows someone. Art is super, super, super simple. Pictures of you, of your family. There's so many options. In the living room, another trick on your sofa. If you have a gray sofa or a neutral sofa, most people have a sofa that doesn't have a lot of color in it. Just add a few throw pillows. English is difficult. A few throw pillows that add color to your space, and it's always comfortable to have throw pillows on the sofa if you want to lie down, if you want to have some guests, etc., etc. Lighting in the living room and the dining room. When you move into a place, typically you have what we call a ceiling mounted lighting system, which is either flush with the ceiling or it's what we call semi recessed. You know those glass pieces that are placed on the ceiling. You don't need to live with that. It's not because the landlord put that or the previous tenant put that you have to live with that. In the bathroom and the kitchen, it's different because you need it to be functional. But in the living and dining, please invest in a chandelier. Um, invest in a chandelier. A chandelier adds so much to your space. And again, it doesn't have to be Baccarat crystal. It can be something super simple in wood. It's just another decor element, and it brings your apartment from a hallway of a hotel to an actual cozy, comfortable, inviting home. Now, functionality. Again, what I've seen recently in the apartment visits I've been doing, I love it. There's New York connected, Paris connected. This is amazing. Tel Aviv is connected now. Amazing. Hi, Imri. Um, Functionality. A lot of times I see in the living room you're going to have a coffee table and it's going to be very far from the sofa. What is the use of a coffee table? We're not just purchasing furniture for it to look good. It has to be useful. The coffee table has to be close to the sofa so you can put your books, your coffee mug, your glass of wine on it. Another trick, on the sides of the sofa, we have something called side tables. You don't have to have them, but if the coffee table is too far, too low, you want to make it more comfortable, think of side tables. It just dresses your living room in 2 seconds. A lot of people are like, I have a living room, I bought a sofa, what else should I put in there? Here are my answers. Coffee tables, side tables, chandelier, arts, more seating. Don't think of, I'm the only one living in this place. Hopefully you have some guests once in a while. You want armchairs around the sofa. Rugs. People think rugs are not necessary, or they buy it 5 years after they moved in, after 25 people told them to buy a rug. You want a rug in every room of your apartment. One under your beds, one under the coffee table in the living room, one under the dining table in the dining room. And the little trick in the dining room is you want to take in consideration not only the depth of the seats, but also when you buy the rug, because a lot of people ask me, what size rug should I purchase? You measure the size of the dining table, you measure the size of the chair, you see how much space you want between the chair and the table, and you keep in mind that you need 2 feet after the back of the chair, because when you back up with your chair, you don't want the chair to have the 2 front legs on the rug and the 2 back legs off the rug, which is going to be uncomfortable. The chair is not going to be stable. So think of 2 extra feet all around the chairs when you're purchasing the rug. So rug under your bed, rug under the coffee table in the living room, rug under the dining table in the dining room. And I know a lot of you are thinking, I don't want a rug in the dining room because it gets messy. There's crumbs, there's stains, this, that. I have carpet all over my house, and we're French and we drink red wine. There are no stains. You are not hosting 5-year-olds. Even if you're hosting 5-year-olds, it still works out. There's cleaning options. And if you're really scared because you have a pet, look at brands that have an option called performance fabric. It's fabric that is not waterproof but is water resistant, meaning it's going to absorb liquids less quicker than a regular fabric, and it's the wear and tear is less easy on performance fabric than on regular fabric. Performance fabric can be used on upholstery, so sofa, armchairs, but also rugs. What else did I want to say? Why do we need rugs? Not only does it look good, it also divides sections. For example, in New York, we like open layouts. Everything is open. I had a client who had let me convert that in square feet. In meters, it was like 100 square meters, which is like 1,000 square feet, more or less, for one room. And the room was so big, she didn't know what to do with it. So I divided it in sitting room. Sitting room is just a place where you sit to talk to people around a chimney or to read books. Sitting room, dining room, living room. And how do you break this down if you don't have walls? With rugs. The second reason why you want rugs, especially in your bedroom, is you want to walk barefoot in your apartments. That's what the difference is with the outside and the inside, the transition where you get into comfortable clothes, you take your shoes off, you don't have so many constraints. And you want to have that warmth under your feet that makes you feel like you're at home, that makes you feel comfortable in a cozy space. Again, rugs are not an option. Don't think it's going to get dirty, it's complicated to take care of. It really is not. So here are a few tips you can do on your own. You don't need an interior designer. It's just things that you can buy $100, $200 if you don't have those items already, to spruce up your place and impress your friends. Have a great Sunday.